Anal beads.
That was some heavy breathing. Welcome to the podcast, episode 8. I remembered the number. I didn't have to think about it this time.
His brain works well.
It's because I looked up the number before we started recording.
Yeah, you did.
I looked up last week's episode.
Wow. What a guy.
Look, if this goes the distance and we start getting into the double digits, I'm going to have to.
My brain
Okay.
don't remember.
Exactly. And you think mine does?
No, I was talking about your brain, not mine.
Okay, but yours doesn't work either, Mr.
Yeah,
Brain Parasite.
Yeah, but we know
Anyways,
what I'm about.
we know what I'm about. Welcome. Hope you guys had a good week since the last episode.
He's Chris, and I'm Archibald.
I'm gonna start calling you that. Your name is now Archibald from now on. I hope you're okay with that.
Well, you're a sick man.
Well, don't throw shit out there you don't want.
Hate you. I could just turn your mic off by standing up.
Yeah. For some reason, we discovered in our audio test that when he I can stand up, move around, do whatever, because I was doing that during the audio test. This motherfucker stands up one time, and it cuts my shit off. Yeah. Aliens, I guess. I don't know.
I have powers, Harry. Wait, I have Harry powers.
You have Harry Powers?
Yeah.
That sounds like the name of an actor or something.
Harry Powers?
Yeah. I feel like that could be the name of like some kind of British actor or
That's
something.
Austin Powers' brother.
I get, his long lost cousin or something. I don't know.
Really hairy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Austin Powers is really hairy, so imagine how hairy Harry Powers is. It was really hard to say.
But you said it. That's all that matters.
did. I didn't fuck it up. That's all that matters.
For once.
For once. Welcome to the podcast. So probably the big topic for this episode, we as in me and my wife already you've seen what, 3 episodes of it?
Yeah.
We were watching the Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids TV docuseries, I guess is what it's called. We were watching that last night. We literally watched all 4 episodes of it last night. Because I told her, I was like, I'm probably only going to watch like an episode or 2, whatever.
And then you really got into it.
She said, she was like, they're long episodes. I was thinking they were going to be like over an hour each or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they were only like 40-something minutes. So we watched like the first 2, and I was like, well, we're just going to go ahead and finish
might
this.
as well finish this.
Especially like at the end of episode 2. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it yet, starting now, because we're going to be talking pretty heavily on it. That's some crazy shit, dude.
You probably don't want to watch it. It's pretty bad.
You've only seen episode 1 and 2 and part of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
wait, no. I watched all of 3. I didn't finish 4.
That's right. Yeah. Because we just watched episode 3. I get them confused.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Numbers don't work well.
numbers are hard, man.
Did you pass algebra?
Barely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll just start like from the very beginning. Episode 1. I mean, it goes through like detailing a lot of Dan Schneider. Early 90s, which I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 92. You were born in 90.
I'm not telling you.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he was born a couple years after me. Do the math, I guess. I don't know. But so, we grew up on like the 90s, early 2000s
right, yeah.
Nickelodeon TV, which was ran very heavily by Dan Schneider. He was the creator of all that, which played a huge part in my childhood. I used to love that show. All That was one of my favorite Nickelodeon TV shows.
Wait, when did Cartoon Network hit the scene? Because from my recollection, I think I remember watching more Cartoon Network than I did Nickelodeon.
I got more into Cartoon Network definitely in the 2000s.
Now, of course, like when Drake and Josh hit, I was like really into that. I did watch the Amanda Show, but like I was really into Drake and Josh.
I was never really much of a like I liked Disney movies as a kid, as like a young kid.
Right.
But I was never really like super big into like the Disney Channel TV shows.
Well, I mean, I was into that too. I watched Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was a big one. But like I wasn't really into Nickelodeon like that.
See, I was
Now
I
that I
was
think
more
about
I was like a kind of a half and half Nickelodeon
Yeah.
Cartoon Network kind
Yeah.
of kid. But I was I would say I was probably more heavily Nickelodeon than I was Cartoon Network. Definitely like in my later years of my childhood,
Right.
I definitely veered more towards Cartoon Network cuz that was when, like in my early teenage years was when Toonami was big and
Right,
Dragon
exactly.
Ball and all that. That's when I really started veering off into that. But like you said, the Amanda Show and like all that were huge parts of my childhood. Like I grew up on that shit, and probably I would say probably more all that than the Amanda Show. The Amanda Show was okay. That was
more for me.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that. I mean, I enjoyed a couple episodes. Some of the humor in it was funny. It was, dumb humor. Dumb, weird humor. But, like, looking back at it now, and this is a part of what they talk about a lot in that show, like, I didn't realize some of those jokes, like, how they were actually portrayed
After
in
watching
those
it
shows.
in the documentary, you can put it together. You can see what you didn't see back
you can
then.
go back and, like, through an adult's eyes, be like, holy shit, this was these are kids.
Yeah, like in episode
This is a
3
children's TV show.
with the glory hole.
Yeah,
Pickle
Pickle
Boy?
Boy.
Yeah.
We're gonna dive into Pickle Boy. And that was one of those things. We'll come back to it like more in depth, but I remember seeing Pickle Boy and being like,
You
this
remember
is
seeing Pickle Boy?
not like that on the show.
Oh, okay.
And like, I don't know, like I guess, just because that was so long ago, I had forgotten about it until I saw them show it on this documentary.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy shit.
You.
Like, it unlocked like a core memory of mine.
Yeah, it was one of those deep memory things.
Yeah, it awoke something in me. And
What did it awaken?
nothing like that. Nothing what you're thinking.
Oh, yeah? What am I thinking?
We got to be real careful about this topic, okay? You got your hand up. What's up?
To answer your question.
Whose question?
Cartoon Network was founded October 1st, 1992.
1992.
I'm pretty sure like Nickelodeon was around the same time, if not earlier than that. It's just really, I was born in 1992, so but yeah, so like going back and like looking at a lot of shit they showed, and that was like the big part of like the first 2 episodes of the documentary was they were just going back and like showing the the outrageous humor as they which
How
as
bad
kids
Dan really was, yeah.
As kids, we probably chuckled at it, not knowing what the fuck it was really.
Yeah, we were kids. We didn't know what we were
Yeah,
doing
we didn't know
ourselves
any better. So, it was just like it was really kind of eye opening in that, and then it kind of goes into a lot of like Dan Schneider as a boss.
Horrible person.
Like he was not a good dude.
Yeah,
He was very like mentally abusive and like psychologically abusive, which of course it goes throughout the documentary and claiming that Dan denies how certain things went, which of course he's gonna deny it. I mean,
of course,
yeah, it paints him in a bad light.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the biggest kicker, like I don't know how deep you want to get into all of the, like how deeply you want to analyze all this. Are you wanting to?
Let's hop into that. I mean, it's
like some of the stuff that Dan did,
yeah,
like the having
we
people.
really...
The big one for me was having the woman, the female writer. Well, yeah, it was 2 of them.
First of all, they shared a salary.
Yeah,
that's illegal.
Yeah,
yeah. Come to find out, that's illegal.
Yeah.
Had them split a salary. So already not off to a great start.
He didn't think that the female writers
openly sexist comments about them not being funny,
which sucks because like that happens. That still happens now.
Yeah, I mean
today.
that's unfortunately
like,
that's
they'll say
that's happened to me.
They'll say these comments, and you're just like, well, I don't feel like I should say something because I might get fired.
Yeah. And that boils down to a lot of that, psychological abuse. He had this like power about him where like people were scared to speak up.
He wanted to say he didn't have that power. You definitely had that power.
Yeah. So, but like the biggest thing for me was the thing with the one of the female writers. I really should have written down their names, but you know, I'm bad at this. Don't worry about looking it up because we're gonna move on to another topic. You know, we're gonna move past it. But anyways, if you want to know the name, you can watch it. I definitely recommend it because it was a good watch. She told a joke, and Dan thought it was funny, and he was like, "Okay, now stand up." And this is in a room full of writers, and they were the only two women.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells her to stand up and repeat the joke as if she was being sodomized from behind.
Yeah, like how do you do that?
First off, how did because like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, did he pretend like he was the one sodomizing her? Because holy shit, if that's the case, like you just went ahead and signed your death warrant on that.
If he did that, if he did that now today,
oh brother,
with the woke crowd,
brother,
fired immediately.
Like, I have my own reserves about cancel culture, unless it's deserved, and in that instance, it is 100% deserved. Hey Renee,
I don't know.
Artie's
if you
lovely
got
girlfriend
to
just showed up.
This point, but that actually, the whole Me Too movement. That actually is how that got
See
started.
that? Yeah, that comes up in the 4th episode, which you haven't watched yet. Because it gets into, you know, later years, and that happened in what, like 2017 or whatever, I think they say. So, but like, yeah, if brother, he would be crucified.
Absolutely.
If some shit like that happened today, like it would hang him up, kid. You're done. So that, you know, that was wild, and it just kind of goes on and on. I don't remember a lot of, you probably, I mean, you're more fresh on the first 2 episodes than I am. That was like the biggest thing. Yeah, the massage, he'd get,
he would have pornography on his.
Yeah, I forgot about that too, because that was when the two women writers were still there.
Yeah. Because
they eventually ended up getting fired. Well, one got fired.
One left.
And one couldn't deal with it, and she quit.
She was like, yeah, I'm out of here.
But yeah, he would have them, like, he would literally have open pornography on his computer.
And then he'd have someone
and like show it off to them. Yeah. And any female staff, other than the kids, I don't think he had ever had the kids massage them. I don't think they ever said anything about that.
Not that I remember.
It's not really the massaging, but with them, it was just the very touchy-feely, like, hey, come give me a hug.
Yeah,
hey,
he was very...
my arm around you.
Well, not only that, but like the weirdest thing, because like some touchy-feely, like if it's like a little side hug, you know, that, okay, because I'm a hugger. I like to hug people, but if I don't know
when does it become too much?
Exactly. I feel like if it comes into like a full-on hug and like the rubbing the back,
yeah, like or rubbing down the arm, like
that's when it starts getting a little sensual.
Yeah,
that's when you need to, you know,
that's raising an eyebrow. That's raising an eyebrow.
But like he would have these women massage him, give him massages, like his neck massage,
like he's a king.
What? Yeah. Like, I mean, it was very, like, megalomaniac, I'm a god, and I deserve all these things kind of thing. Like, I have this power over you, so you're going to do it.
Like Nickelodeon, they wouldn't be anywhere without me.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he kind of had that air about him.
Yeah.
They actually had an episode where he essentially played himself, and the kids were like, "Oh my god, he's a god."
And like the kids were like hyping him up.
I remember
this like all
on the Amanda
being.
Show.
It was all that.
Oh, was it? Was it all that?
Yeah, it was all that. Because it was right before the Amanda Show came on,
where he played the old guy with the white wig.
Actually, what we were talking about was like they had the Dan phone.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about on the Amanda Show because that's who he played on the Amanda Show.
I can't remember that. I forgot about that part.
I think that was like either episode 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably was episode 2, I believe.
But it was just a weird thing. He would also he called them practical jokes, where he would send them like an email. He would send someone an email, and most of the time it was the female writers. And he would be like, yell out, "I'm a slut."
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And when they wouldn't do it, he would send another email, add more exclamation points to it.
Bold caps.
And then he'd start yelling, like, do it, like, antagonizing them to do it. And that is just wild, dude. That is crazy. So, in regards to them, what was it? The one that got fired, she had taken, like, throughout the whole year, she had taken, like, 2 or 3 personal days, like, on the weekend. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, in that industry, you're working 7 days a week just about.
Yeah.
You know, so she had taken like 3 personal days. And I guess on that third one, he had enough, quote unquote, and axed her. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Godlike mentality.
Like, wild. And then the other one, I remember the other one quitting. Because she said they were in a writer's meeting, and she outright asked him, he asked her, sorry, words are hard, if she used to be a phone sex operator.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. Which I don't fucking blame her. I get it. Cause like their whole thing was the reason they put up with all this bullshit was because this was their dream job.
Has he ever been married? Do we know? He has.
Yeah. Is he still married?
I'm still pretty sure he is still married. I will check that real quick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he is still married.
That's wild.
That's wild. I mean, who? Well, money talks, I guess. But
yep. Lisa Lillian is his wife's name.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
2002.
Either.
Wow.
And they're still together after that documentary?
Yep.
Wild.
We'll see. I mean, it's only been out a couple days.
And? You know how many people have...
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they've been, like, flaming him. Yeah. I don't know. But, yeah, they've been dragging him over the coal, which, I mean, you know, rightfully so. He's kind of a piece of shit. I mean, not a great guy.
No, he is.
Well, you haven't even seen the stuff in the 4th episode yet. We'll get to that.
It gets worse?
It gets worse. Yeah.
Not worse than Brian.
Not worse than Brian Peck, but not far from it either.
Oh, okay.
So that's like mainly the first 2 episodes of him just being like misogynistic and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, we're forgetting about how, you know, he treated the black kid.
Yeah, that was big in episode 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was his name? Brian Hearn, I think was his name.
The penis nose.
Yeah, he had the. Well, they brought up a lot of body issues, and I never really.
You're forgetting the episode where he like had him selling cookies like it was drugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had the black kid, and he was. It was him and the girl. They were like the only 2 black kids like in the cast, and of course they had him selling the Girl Scout cookies on the corner, but like treating it like it's drugs.
Right.
And and his mom. I loved his mom in the 2nd episode because she was a real parent.
Yes.
She was hey, this isn't fucking right. It's clearly making him uncomfortable, and I'm not going to be quiet about it.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, that ended up getting him kicked off the show, basically.
Well, honestly, if it has to be like that, it has to be like that.
That's what we were talking about on the way over here, because we were talking about it a little bit. If I'm in that, and you can definitely speak on this, because you are a parent.
Apparently.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, late.
I had to find the button. I need to scoot it back a little bit where I can see it. Anyways, but yeah, so you are a parent, so you can definitely speak on this. But in my mind, as that child's parent, even if they're gonna fucking hate me for ruining this opportunity for them, if it's getting them out of a dangerous situation, they're just gonna have to fucking hate me.
Exactly.
They'll get over it.
We can find work somewhere else.
Exactly.
We don't need this.
We were looking for a job when we found this one.
Exactly.
That's my motto.
We don't need to take this.
But yeah, like because with everything else that did happen that we're gonna get into here shortly, like you can look on it now, and you can hate me for the rest of your life, but eventually you're gonna see what was really going on, and you're gonna wish I pulled you out sooner.
Exactly.
Like,
and that's what his mom said. It was like, you've been pissed off at me so many years, but to see what I saved you from,
that's how she transitioned into the whole what we're gonna get into the third episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she literally said, like, I didn't know what I was saving him from, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Cause and the whole but staying on that topic of him, the little fetus thing.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that on TV.
Making him a rapper.
Yeah, making him a rapper, and like, you know,
the comments that he made to him. It's all of that.
Claimed that he needed, and like he's your normal, I would say, like, average skin tone black man.
Yeah.
Like not like super dark, not light, you know. Listen, I'm not trying to sound racist, I promise, but you know, like, his skin tone is about average, I would say, for a black man. And this dude literally came up and told him for the bodysuit to match his skin color, they were gonna have to get a charcoal color.
Yeah, that was wild. I was like,
and I'm like, bro, are you serious?
Yeah, no, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, that
wouldn't
is
even
crazy.
It wouldn't be even close to his skin tone.
No.
Serious?
No. Like, not even.
Like, how do you process that in your brain?
Yeah. Like, it's wild.
With that, I'd probably just look at him with a funny face and be like, "Are you colorblind? Like, what is wrong with you?"
And like, I feel bad for the kid, because, you know, this is like a teenager, almost preteen, early teens, and like the dude even said, like, that broke his, like, self-image.
Yeah,
because, you know, he's being judged by his skin color. This
is why you shouldn't be afraid to speak up when you feel like something is wrong.
Absolutely. I'm gonna teach my kids whenever we eventually have them. You gonna tell people how you feel.
Exactly.
You're gonna do it respectfully, you know. Because there's a way to do it and a way to not do it. You're gonna do it respectfully,
and I'm gonna back you up when you do.
And absolutely, yeah. Because if you are not comfortable in any kind of situation, I do not feel you need to just take it.
Exactly.
Exactly. It does not matter the situation, even if like, I get it. It's your dream job. It's your dream opportunity. I understand.
Yeah, but we're not just gonna sit here and take whatever.
No, absolutely not. We don't do that here.
Another point too was he said the bodysuits that he would be put in.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna get on. That's the other thing too, and I never really thought about it, because, again, I was also a child watching this.
Mm-hmm.
But so, you know, I see these, like, funny costumes, and I'm like, oh, they look goofy, whatever. But they were talking about the leotards that they would have to get in, and how, like, and looking back at it now, yeah, some of them were, like, revealing, because they're, like, skin tight.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're in nothing but, like, their underwear underneath, but even that's not going to do much.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, looking back on it, it's kind of skeevy. Like, it gives you
it's disgusting.
It gives you the gross, the yuck.
Yep.
Yeah, because all these kids are going through puberty at that time. So
yeah, so you've got, like, a bunch of body image issues.
Yeah, and one of those kids lost their position because, you know, she was going to get her own show, and then because she became a woman, they were just like, hey, we're going to
like, nah,
yeah,
you're not the cute little girl anymore.
Nope.
You gotta fuck off. But yeah, that was most of the first two episodes, I think. Is there anything else we're missing?
I mean, they gave, in one of the skits, they told Amanda that her name's Penelope Taint.
Penelope Taint, yep.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. I told you
I was
last
sitting
night
on the couch, and when they said it, of course, when you're young, you're not going to know.
I never thought of it. Like, I always knew her name was Penelope Taint, but I never
when I was
it.
on the couch, and she said her name, I was like, is she saying Taint?
Yeah. Wild.
And then they clarify that and say
that
exactly what it was,
and
he lies to what?
Yeah, and I'm gonna get in. It's a good thing. I'm happy that you're wearing the bluey shirt, by the way, because I'm gonna get into. You'll understand the comparison when I make it later on, but I'm happy that you're wearing that, so we can I can remember that.
Also, with the same guy you guys were talking about in the Fear Factor for Kids, whatever.
Yeah,
show
the
it
peanut
was,
butter.
The peanut butter.
Yeah.
They lathered this kid up with peanut butter.
Yeah, let the dogs.
Like
lick him.
he had swimming trunks on, like he wasn't naked, but still, they literally covered him from like the neck down in peanut butter, and had dogs come and lick it off. And he's even the clips that they showed, he is verbally saying, "I do not like this.
Yeah.
I do not like this." And like the whole thing, because that was what was it called, On Air Dares or some shit like that. Like, okay, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want it to sound like I'm like sympathizing with Schneider, because I'm not. I understand the vision of what he was trying to do, because they even say it in the documentary. He was trying to make adult shows like SNL.
Then he probably should have went and made adult shows.
Well, he was trying
not
to make
with
them,
children.
He was trying to make them for kids.
Is that how you do it?
I know it's weird to think about.
Lather a kid up in peanut butter and let dogs lick it off?
Because the whole thing, like that whole On Air Dares, because all that was supposed to be
putting a scorpion
SNL.
in your mouth. Like, come on
Yeah.
now, what?
Yeah, he went way too fucking far.
What
with it.
parent is gonna let their child do
Bad
that?
ones.
Yes.
Like stuff like that should have been like
I'm
walk
just gonna
through
call
a
him like I
pool
said.
of,
Do
like
you-
Jello or like
Yeah,
something
something
stupid.
Exactly.
like for kids, but they took some of it too far. But yeah, so like all that was supposed to be Saturday Night Live for kids, is what it was supposed to be. And then the whole On Air Dares, the On Air Dares was supposed to be like Fear Factor for kids.
Well,
But with
all
some of that shit,
all that was supposed to be
yeah,
Saturday Night Live,
yeah. But with that shit, I feel like they took a lot of that, like with the dogs and the scorpion shit. Like the scorpion shit is stuff you would see on actual Fear Factor with
Yeah.
actual adults.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
if someone was to tell me they want my child
Hey, we're gonna
to
put a
potentially
scorpion
put
in
a
his
scorpion in their mouth, fuck you.
mouth. Hey, how about you do it first?
Yeah, let me see you do it first. And even still, you're not doing that to my kid. Period. That is a fucking child.
And also to bring up too,
You're trying
the
to
fact
traumatize a
that
kid.
these kids weren't even getting paid.
Yeah,
Nowhere near
there's
amount
no
enough to
way.
deal with
There's
this.
no way they were getting paid what they should have been getting paid.
Well, I mean, this was back in the day. Getting paid was a lot different than it is now.
yeah, but I mean, for all the shit they had to deal with, I guarantee you, because that's always been a thing. You hear that from many child actors who are grown now, that they were getting severely underpaid for the shit they had to go through. I mean, that's just Hollywood. I mean, he was already doing illegal things, splitting a salary between two women. So know he probably wasn't paying them kids what they needed to be paid.
Overworking them, making them work extra hours.
All those fucking extra hours. Crazy. There was something else I was gonna say.
And then what's the dude's name that was sending emails to one of the young women?
See, that's getting into the third episode.
One, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I thought that was also in the second episode.
He's kind of.
It kind of worked its way into the third.
It kind of like leads into the
right.
third,
Yeah.
But so yeah, we can just go ahead and dive into that. What was his name? Jason Handy?
Or Jason Handy.
Because he was like, no parents past this point. I will take your kids. No,
Yeah,
no,
he was
no.
That was his quote unquote job on the set, was to get the kids where they needed to go.
Well, you better have a booth somewhere up there where I can sit and
Absolutely.
watch literally what's going on, because I'm not releasing my child.
Absolutely. You are not taking my kid anywhere without me present.
Negative.
Not happening. I don't give a shit what you've got to say. But come to find out, of course, he was a sexual predator. A very, very bad sexual predator. He got caught, not even by the woman they had on the documentary, because they had a woman on there.
No, it was someone else.
Yeah, there was somebody else who gave like a tip or something. Well, I guess maybe one of the other parents of one of the other girls, because there was I'm getting ahead of myself.
It
but
wasn't
there was a
all
woman.
child stars though, so that's one of the other girls. That's probably what it just happened upon.
But there was a woman who was talking about her daughter, who was an extra on the Amanda show. She wasn't even like a mainstay.
Right.
She had just gotten a part as an extra. And I mean, a lot of times that's like getting your foot in the door in that industry.
Right.
You're an extra on a show. If you do good as that, then, you know, they'll see what else they got for you, whatever. Well, with this Jason Handy guy, she apparently was like the little girl. Her name was Brandy. She never shows up on the show, by the way. So I'm assuming she didn't want any part of any of this, which I don't.
Did she not?
Particularly, no.
Really?
It was only her mom, and they were only showing pictures of her the whole episode.
Oh, okay.
So she was really excited about the opportunity because she loved these shows. She watched them all the time.
Right.
You know, it was like a dream come true kind of thing. She's gonna actually get to be on the show. So, you know, she was super excited about it. She met this Jason Handy guy, and you know they were super. You know, he was super nice and, you know, helped her out, yada, yada, yada. Well, they started emailing each other.
And this is where it goes wrong.
Well, first, he gave all the kids on set, he's like, here's my number if you need anything, and here's my email. And they were just emailing.
I'm pretty sure that, you know, they have managers. You should probably give your number to the managers, to the parents, not to the children.
I don't know if Brandy had a manager. I don't either she
if
didn't
they don't
or
have
they never
managers,
said.
their parents.
Yeah, most of them were the parents at that age.
But
yeah, don't give my child your email. No, don't give my child your number. Give me. I am the responsible party.
Exactly. I don't want to cast blame on the mom because I'm sure she's been through enough. But at first, because she allowed her daughter to email this man.
Back in the day, it was a lot laid back.
It was
compared to
a
nowadays.
lot of this. I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't unheard of, but it definitely wasn't as prominent as it is today.
Right.
But so she allowed her to email, and for the most part, she checked the emails. They were mostly innocent, yada yada yada, whatever. Well, then she said one night she was emailing him, and then all of a sudden she turns the computer off as fast as she can, and runs to her bedroom and slams the door. So her mom, obviously, like, what the fuck just happened?
Being a mom, goes and checks.
Yeah, exactly. Being a good mom, goes and talks to her, and
well, actually,
she
goes and looks at the email.
Yeah, I don't think Brandy like told her, so she went and looked at the email, and it was like this dude
getting handy,
giving himself a handy.
Yeah.
And like in the caption said like thinking of you, or sent this to let you know I'm thinking about you, or some creepy shit like that.
Yeah, see,
this girl is like
right
11
then and there,
years old.
Right then and there, she should have said something. Should have said something immediately.
Yeah, she should. I'm with you because I'd be going to the fucking police.
And she even states, she's like, I should have gone
to
the
police
and I didn't.
I'm going to his house.
If not, going to his fucking house.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or I'll take that motherfucker out on set. Witnesses, I don't give a shit. Don't give a fuck.
You got all
Lock
the
me up.
You got all the proof you need.
Lock me up.
Show them the email.
Yep.
Hey, Handy, meet me.
Yeah. So she never ended up going to the police, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. I know.
Until someone else, and I'm assuming this because like they said in the documentary, he did this to so many other girls.
Yeah, and then the detectives called the mom asking to talk to Brandy.
They were trying to get them to corroborate on their investigation.
Because the others wouldn't.
Because, a lot of the parents wouldn't.
Also, to preface anybody listening and or watching this, it's probably going to get a little bit graphic. So, trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning.
Right now.
Like, if you have any issues with, like, sexual assault or, like, anything like that.
Probably
should have said that a little earlier, but,
we'll make sure to put it in the title.
Yeah. So they and she thankfully she was like, absolutely, I will help you with this. And sent them the emails and all that shit. Come to find out, they go to this dude's house and he has literally got piles of child pornography. I don't know if I could say that on YouTube, but we're talking about a documentary. I don't know.
It was over 10,000 pictures and 7 CDs full.
Had Ziploc bags of just all kinds of, and I'm not gonna go into graphic details on what was in the bags, but Yeah, go watch the documentary if you want to know all that. But yeah, and they said that her daughter Brandy.
You can say he took tokens or had tokens.
Yeah, well, that's
you have to describe what was in the bags.
He had bags of tokens from each girl or whatever. But he had a bag with this girl and like a bunch of letters that they had apparently been writing. I don't know. I guess he had been writing her back and forth or something. I don't know. That was kind of weird because it made it sound like she was like feeding into it, but I don't know if that's actually the case or not.
That's just how it was portrayed. Yeah, you don't really know for sure.
We're getting all of this information from a documentary and like a little bit of outside research we've done ourselves.
Because she said it was letters and pictures.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what all was entailed in that, but so he ends up, of course, thank God, getting arrested. We looked that up. He is still incarcerated, and he's not getting out until...
What was it, 2038?
2038, yeah. So he's going to be giving handies in prison. Jason Handy giving handies in prison. You know, trying to lighten the mood up a little bit here.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then, like, they go, because, of course, this is the cast of, like, the later years of all that, when this is happening, and, like, probably, like, early mid-years of the Amanda Show.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
When, actually, no, I think this is, like, close to the end of the Amanda Show. Because I remember all that and Amanda Show was kind of at the same time. They were, like, doing both of them or whatever. But, so, like, the cast of all that, they get all the children, you know, they get this news that this dude that they have known for the longest time has been arrested for being a child predator. And I guess nothing had ever happened to them, so they couldn't believe it, you know, whatever. But obviously they had proof. So, you know,
yep.
No getting out of that for him.
Got him.
Well, then, a couple months later, is when Brian Peck,
a new predator's on the scene,
gets arrested for, what was it, 11 counts of sexual assault on a minor. You know,
we'll go over that in a minute.
Yeah, it's the actual counts, whatever. But he gets arrested for being a child predator as well.
Start at the house.
They don't know. So to preface this, before he gets arrested, Brian Peck, he was like a dialogue coach or like an acting coach for a lot of the kids. And he had apparently worked with a lot of child actors, Leonardo DiCaprio being one of the biggest ones on Growing Pains. Which is crazy to think, because now it's got me like, did any of this happen to Leo and we just don't know about it?
Maybe he would have came forward and said something.
Maybe, but I mean, a lot of people handle it differently. You know, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want
hush money.
Dig it up. I mean, yeah,
he's rich. He doesn't need hush money.
Well,
at that time,
there's several stars that still will not come forward, and they're like, "You need to talk," and they're like, "We can't."
Yeah.
What's holding you? The elites.
Get the hat.
Get the hat.
So, they have it like, and he's really close with a lot of the kids.
A little too close.
Yeah, he eventually gets a little too close. But he has a party at his house, and one of the kids, what was his name? Kyle something. He was the one with the glasses. I know his name is Kyle.
I just know he's from all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the kids, he's like showing him like his house or whatever, and goes to
he shows
his
him the clown
garage.
painting.
And yeah, he said in the garage he had like this shrine to like Planet of the Apes, and on that it caught his eye because it didn't look like anything of the Planet of the Apes. It was like a painting of like a birthday clown.
That was like right next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a painting of like, you know, a birthday clown. And so he checks it out and he flips it over, and come to find out
he asked him about it. And
okay,
then,
either way.
Well, still, and Brian was like, "Oh, I got to show you the painting," and then he flipped it over.
Either way,
this man was super excited.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
So flips the painting over, and it says,
"It's
something
your boy.
about dear Brian. You know, hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoy this painting. Love, your friend, John Wayne motherfucking Gacy." What? Yeah. Known serial killer of many, like, young adolescent boys.
This man was a
men.
pen pal
And
to a serial killer.
He got excited. And here's the thing. He brought the rest of the Kyle kid was like, you know, he was kind of taken aback. He didn't, because, I mean, he's 14 at this time. So he, as a kid, he probably didn't know, like, he was shocked, obviously, but he probably didn't know exactly how to process it.
I mean, he got adults, so, I mean, he knew something was up. He knew, like...
He got everybody, parents included. This was the big thing for me. Parents included.
How did they not, like, say
brought
something?
Brought them in there to check this out. And then Brian starts breaking out the letters that he had been a pen pal with this motherfucker.
He keeps in his bedside drawer.
Keeps in his bedside drawer for some fucking reason.
And people don't think this man is...
And yeah, the parents,
not all there?
Nah.
The parents, apparently, I guess, were just okay with
Maybe the parents weren't all there.
I've been like, you know what? We're leaving right now.
Hollywood's wild. That's the only thing we've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate recently, and I'm half-ass convinced there's some kind of magical spell over Hollywood that just turns everybody fucking nuts.
Bloodsuckers.
I don't know what it is, but...
Bloodsuckers.
So... Because, like, in my mind as a parent, the second, that was probably really loud, the second I see that this motherfucker who is working probably a little too closely with my young child is pen pals with a known former sexual predator / serial killer, we're gone. I'm getting my kid. You can hate me all you want. We're gone. I'm out. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
It is insane. That should have been everybody's first immediate red flag. But, of course, lo and behold, it's not. But Brian Peck ends up getting arrested on multiple accounts of sexual misconduct with a minor. And for years, even, like, when did that actually break of who it actually was? Was that before the documentary? So the documentary was when it broke on who it was.
This documentary was the first time anybody has heard anything about who it was.
So, like, nobody knew who
since, like,
it was.
2003.
They just knew it was a child actor, right? Nobody had any idea. Everybody was like, well, who was it? What show were they on? Was it, you know, all of the, because they brought it up. Because, again, this was only like months after this Jason Handy shit. They bring the kids in. Dan brings the kids into, like, the writer's room or whatever. And first off, this was also kind of weird on his part. He asks the parents to leave.
Yeah,
and
see,
kids,
that's just something that,
that wouldn't fucking fly.
That would rub me wrong. Like, why do I gotta leave?
If you're gonna say it in front of my kid, you're gonna say it in front of me too. Like,
no,
I'm gonna know what the fuck is going
on. The investigators were in there, and we're like, "Do you guys have any?"
I don't care.
Yeah, regardless,
don't give a fuck. You're not gonna ask me to leave.
I'm gonna be in there with my fucking child.
Exactly. They're not adults. They are not adults.
Exactly.
Why?
So,
are you allowed? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna allow this.
They break the news to the kids about Brian Peck getting arrested for, you know, sexual misconduct with a minor. And again, these kids are like, what the fuck? This is 2 now in a matter of months. Like, what the fuck is going on?
We were close to these people.
The investigators ask them, like, is there anything you want to tell us? Like, is there anything we need to know? And I'm sure they're asking, like, did he do anything to you? You can come forward, yada, 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 whatever. Of course, nobody, like they said, nobody said anything, but everybody's kind of like looking at each other like, is anybody going to raise their hand? You know, which,
did he do something to them?
Yeah. I would be the same way.
Yeah.
Like, eyeballs everywhere.
Probably should have took them into a room, one by one, not just out in the open. Hey, did he do this to
that
you?
That probably would have been smarter, because who knows if
because what if he did? They're not going to come forward because
the embarrassment or
exactly
whatever. Not that that's anything their fault, whatever. But yeah, I think that should have been handled a lot fucking differently. But
absolutely,
whatever. So that happens. Well, then come to find out, of course, Drake and Josh, they talk about like the release of that.
Best Nickelodeon show, by the way.
Come to find out, the child actor who it had happened to was Drake Bell. Drake Bell was the one who, he got arrested for, and of course they have like this big reveal on the documentary, like towards the end of like the second episode, I think, where it's revealed that it's him, and
right.
Of course the third episode they go talking about how Drake got into the business, and how he got started on the Amanda Show, met Dan, and how like this whole thing came to be over time with Brian. And throughout that whole thing, like my heart hurts for Drake, because no child should ever have to go.
Yeah, no, like when you're watching it, it's like gut wrenching.
It's uncomfortable. It makes you feel uncomfortable watching.
Yeah,
it.
No doubt.
Because you can see him, you can see how uncomfortable he is talking about it.
How uneasy he is, how he's breathing, how he's
you can
moving.
tell he's very fidgety.
Yeah.
He's
like when he first sat down, he
was fine up until he got, which I mean, understandably, he got up to what actually happened, and you can see a shift in his demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
But my heart really breaks for his dad.
Because his dad was on. He knew this guy was not a good person.
Exactly.
He knew it.
He saw it from the minute that Brian started showing an interest in Drake, that something wasn't right. The way he was
showing up
him,
at his concerts, following him around.
Like you said, the rubbing on the
arms. Like,
yeah,
his dad was on it. He knew it. He was like, nah, you don't need to be close to this guy. This guy's acting a little weird.
He was not acting a way a 40-year-old man should act around any 15-year-old child.
And what made me mad, me personally, is when the dad tried to speak up about it. And the excuse that he was given of, oh, he's just a touchy-feely because he's gay.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me. He was, So his dad notices all this shit. So he goes to, one of the executive producers or something like that. Someone higher than Brian, and was like, hey, look, I'm not comfortable with how he is around my son. He's rubbing up on him, like he's not acting how he should be acting with a child. And the executive producer is just like, oh, well, I don't know if you know this, but he's actually gay.
He called him homophobic, didn't
maybe he was like, maybe you're just homophobic and don't feel comfortable with how touchy-feely he is as a gay man.
I'm sorry, but don't touch my kid. What?
Facts.
No matter who you are. No.
Facts. Because I don't give a flying fuck, Keisha. If you are a gay or straight man, if you are touching my child inappropriately,
we got a
you better get your hands up, because it's on site.
Keep your hands to yourself.
I'm knocking you the fuck out.
Keep your hands to yourself.
See, that's me. If I see that shit, I ain't going to no executive producer.
No.
I'm laying that motherfucker out where he stands.
They won't let me back on set.
Nope. I will be handcuffed and taken away.
Raging uppercut.
But, so he like brushed it off, and the dad was just kind of like, well, if you say so. He didn't like let it go, but he knew that was going to be a losing fight, trying to get anything done that way. So like it goes on, and the whole time Brian is like driving a wedge between Drake and his dad.
He literally
he's stealing money from you. He's mismanaging you. He's
just
not
whispering
doing,
in his ear.
Yeah,
a little devil
putting that paranoia in his brain, and of course it worked, unfortunately. So like, God, that scene in the documentary where they're talking about him telling his dad that he doesn't want to be managed by him anymore, and like his dad just like breaking it. God, dude, that fucking killed me.
Yeah, you know his heart.
That shit hurt to watch. So, his dad and his mom were divorced too.
Mm-hmm.
We forgot to mention that, and they didn't really have a friendly relationship after the divorce. So, when it was Drake's mom that called him and told him that he didn't want him to manage him anymore, so he turned over everything to her. And he was like, and like him saying it, it's gonna make me almost tear up now. You know, he was saying that it hurts, but if that's what he wants to do, then I'm gonna do it because that's what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he turns over everything to her, but like before he does, and he says he said, I told her in person, whatever you
do not leave him around.
Do not leave him unsupervised with that motherfucker.
He knew.
Yeah, exactly. He knew what was going to happen.
The signs, they were there.
Well, of course, lo and behold, Brian ends up getting his claws in his mom. And what was it? He basically like took over. Brian started driving him because his mom didn't want to fucking do it.
I don't
like how
is that right?
Yeah, they said that she doesn't like driving, so he would pick him up for like auditions.
That's what Drake said because he lived in Orange County,
which was an hour.
And
so he ended up staying with Brian.
LA. Yeah. So Brian would come and get him, drive him to his auditions because Drake, quote unquote, said his mom didn't like driving. Well, so ended up getting your kid fucking molested. So
instead of taking him back because they're there all day, it's a far distance. He ended up staying with Brian,
and
sleeping on the couch.
He said one morning he woke up, and trigger warning right here. You know, if you again just can't reiterate enough, trigger warning with all this. But yeah, he claims he woke up one morning and he was being sexually assaulted while he was. I guess it started while he was asleep, and he woke up.
Yeah, like Jackie she brought up a good point when she because you can get drugged.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't go.
I don't know if you're like a heavy sleeper or because like me, I'm a light sleeper. Like if you touch me, if you move, if I hear something, I'm awake.
You up?
So
they didn't go, and I'm kind of glad they didn't because I feel like that would have been way too much. But they didn't go into details of what exactly was done. Over time, they showed, and I'm not gonna repeat what the court document said because I feel like that's pushing it too far. But if you want to know, if you want to know, just go watch the documentary. But
yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all.
And and Drake says it himself. He said, because he didn't even know how to explain it.
Yeah,
he didn't even know how to put it in words in front of it.
Imagine the worst thing.
Yeah, the worst thing that could happen related to sexual abuse. That's what was done
happened
to him.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's been in therapy all these years and he's still.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's one of those things. Like it'll never go away.
No,
unfortunately,
it's always going to be in the back of your brain.
He literally said, he's like, it's pretty bad that I will remember all of that. But everything that happened around that time, I was blurry on. That's
the thing too. That's what I was gonna hit on.
I wouldn't want to remember.
This happened between the time that the Amanda Bynes show went off air, and right before Drake and Josh started. That was when this was happening.
It hadn't even started yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, it was. It had finally stopped right as Drake and Josh started.
Yeah, because the Amanda show was done. It was over with.
It was like an in between time.
Yeah, it was.
They filmed the pilot episode, but then there was a break, and then they had to refilm it.
Yeah, and that was when he got arrested. But yeah, and he details a lot of it. And the crazy thing for me, Drake got it. Because this was unfortunately it wasn't a one-time thing because
it happened.
He felt like he couldn't say, oh, well, I don't want to go to Brian's house anymore because then people would start asking questions. Well, why? What happened? Why don't you want to go? So he just dealt with it.
That's a lot on you.
Yeah, that's heavy, dude. He literally just, he just dealt with it. And,
Yeah, he was finally, like, his hair was falling out.
Yeah. That was when Drake and Josh started. He went to the doctor because his hair was falling out. And he said he had like a shit ton of scabs and shit on his head. Mm-hmm. And the doctor looked at him and was like, your vitals are excellent. How's your stress level?
How's your stress?
And he's like, brother, if you only knew.
Stress kills.
And but the biggest thing for me, the crazy thing for me, was he had a girlfriend. He got a girlfriend at this time. And he was over at his house, and Brian was apparently supposed to take him to Disneyland. And
kudos to her mom, by the way, for picking that up.
Good parent.
Mother's tuition.
Good parent. So he's at his girlfriend's house, and Brian starts calling his cell phone, blowing it the fuck up.
That's
he's just not answering.
Immediately, that's weird. If you call his phone and the girlfriend's house phone,
yeah. See, you beat me to it. I hadn't even got to the girlfriend. When he's not answering the cell phone, he starts calling the fucking girlfriend's house phone. I don't even know how he had that number to begin with, unless Drake gave it to him. Because I mean, he's in that situation. I don't know, but so he starts blowing that house phone up to where the mom is, and he finally picks up the house phone, and of course, like, Brian's like, oh, he's pissed off. He's like, we had these plans. What are you doing? Yada yada yada. And Drake he's trying to play it off because, of course, his girlfriend and his girlfriend's mom are there.
Exactly, yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, I must have double booked, but y'all go ahead. I'm just going to hang out. I'm going to hang out here tonight. And hangs his phone up. Dude starts calling again, blowing the fucking phone up. And then finally his girlfriend's mom is like, hey, let me talk to you for a second. LA Knight, let me talk to you.
Oh God.
So they go in the kitchen, and she's like, what's going on? And he explains it. He's trying to be like casual about it. He's like, oh, I've been trying to distance myself from him. We're just kind of, he's being a little weird right now, and I'm just trying to, separate a little bit. And she said, no. Something's not right.
Yeah, no.
He said, and I love the way he put it. She said, a 40-year-old man does not call my daughter's boyfriend like that.
Yeah. That's wild.
That doesn't happen.
No.
And she ended up talking to his mom and was like, hey, something's going on.
Hey,
we're taking him
to therapy.
I'm going to get him in with our therapist. Because something's up. We got to figure it out. And fucking kudos to her for that. All of the applause in the world for that. Because that's good fucking parenting. Because that's not even her fucking kid.
Yeah. And she can.
But that's good fucking parenting, right?
Just knew.
But of course, unfortunately, like with the therapy, he said he's
tried
like,
to brush it off.
He couldn't bring himself to. He was like, and he just kind of like how he mentioned to her, he was acting weird, trying to distance himself. But hey, good thing we got that taken care of. It's good, no worries. And then he goes on to talk about Drake and Josh, because Drake and Josh starts filming. This motherfucker
had the audacity
to try to convince him
to
get Dan to
let
cast
him be the father
as the dad of Drake and Josh.
Yep. That's
wild.
Absolutely.
That is, oh my God, that is crazy, dude. And he was like, no, that's not gonna happen. And then he finally broke down. He called his mom and just screamed everything that happened. Like, he said he was just yelling it at her.
He said he has no recollection of, like, why he was mad.
Yeah.
He just picked up the phone and started
he said he was like, I have no idea what set it off. I just started yelling.
He finally had enough.
That cup filled up.
Yep.
And it was really depressing for me, and like, it's shitty to think about, because so that all happened, and he got arrested like right as Drake and Josh was airing, or filming or whatever.
Well, he got caught.
So, like, he says, like, I think you mentioned it earlier, he doesn't remember anything else other than this, like, shitty event that happened to him. This was the highlight of this man's career.
Mm-hmm.
He was huge in the early 2000s with Drake and Josh, his music career, like all of that was just going for him, and he didn't even really get to enjoy it.
Nope.
Because he had this fucking ruined it. Had this fucking shadow,
his
like,
career,
over him.
his life, like that's it's gonna follow him.
And and like it's been this big secret until now. You know, it just now came up. He's had this, been holding on to this shit forever.
He even told on himself.
Huh?
Brian even told on himself.
Oh yeah,
Caught
yeah.
in 4K.
They that was how they caught him. Yeah. They called the police. They had investigators over, and unfortunately, he had to like relive in excruciating detail. Had to give it all out.
That couldn't have been.
But then he had to call Brian. Of course, they set their little rig up to record the phone call. He's talking to this guy, and he's like, I'm having trouble dealing with all this, blah 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 blah, and he says Brian literally gave a full fucking confession.
Yep.
And the whole time he's giving this confession,
he finally stops and thinks for a second. Wait a minute.
Am I being recorded?
Am I being recorded?
Am I being recorded? Like, brother, got your ass.
Hey, don't go anywhere. Stay right next to the phone.
Yeah, stay where you're at. Don't go nowhere. Don't worry, they'll come to you.
Hey, pack your bags. We got a new place for you.
Remember, no shoelaces. Can't have no shoelaces in prison. None of those. So he gets arrested. Well, then it's what? Like, Drake goes on, he's doing Drake and Josh, and it's like a year later, they finally get to trial after him initially getting arrested. Yeah. They go to trial, and it's heartbreaking because he mentioned it. I don't know if you saw that part yet, where he was talking about the sport that he got. Yeah. How so many people showed up for Brian.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of people that he knew.
What was close, his brother, his mom.
Yeah, Drake had his brother, his mom, and him. That's it.
But
and Brian had like a slew of people on his side.
Celebrities.
Yeah. And I love. Did you see what he said when he got up on the stand?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember what exactly he said.
He wasn't going, because they said, "Do you have anything to say to Brian?" He's like, "I am not going to address him. Brian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna address everybody else in the room. How dare you?"
He basically, he flamed them. He was like, "How dare you support him?"
As he should.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it was absolutely proven.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's one thing. Okay.
The whole research that Jackie did, where they're like, well, we didn't know this was the story we were told. You were in the courtroom. What do you mean this was the story you were told?
Yeah.
They, at that point, you should have literally got up and you should have left. You should have been done with that man.
Well, yeah, they said, oh, no, sorry, I got, whoa, I don't know what happened there. I went to sleep for a second.
It's that old age.
Got me. So my thing is, it's one thing if this is just like Drake claimed that this happened. Okay, then it's a game of, we don't have any hard evidence. Who do we believe? Kind of thing. But they had hard evidence, a phone recorded confession to all the shit he did. That motherfucker caught 4K.
That's evidence enough.
Exactly.
Well, and also, too, one of the counts was the fact that he had pictures and videos.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what a sick man. What a sick man.
He ends up pleading no contest to
2 counts.
To 2 counts.
You
not going to get into what, not
16 months.
There was 11 counts in total of what he was getting tried for, but he only pled no contest to 2 of them.
16
He only got
months.
16 months in prison.
Vice Jason Handy,
who's still in fucking prison
until 2038.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What are you serious? Are you serious? What is the justice system? What is the justice system?
Me. And we looked it up, which they talk about in the documentary. After he got out, he went right back to hired by Disney Channel to work on the set of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Don't they do background checks?
Working with yeah, I thought so.
They said, and I quote, "We fixed the issue." How?
Who said that?
Disney when they hired him.
Oh, yeah. I guess I don't remember that part, but yeah, hired this man to work with yet another two this time young adolescent twins.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to go to Disney Land and World. I don't think I want to go there.
It baffles me. I'm like, even before this, I was always really like iffy with child celebrities or child actors, whatever. Like I don't think it should be a thing, especially after this. There are not enough regulations or any kind
Safety.
of like procedures to make sure that these fucking kids are safe.
I don't like how we glazed over the the innuendos, the pickle boy.
Pickle Boy. Brian Peck, in all that, had a character called fucking Pickle Boy.
They had a scene. A glory hole scene.
A glory hole scene, yep.
And he gives a man.
He puts the pickle through the glory hole.
A pickle.
Pickle Boy.
And this was on a child show.
Yep.
And
that was one of those core memories for me where like I saw Pickle Boy and I was like, I forgot that was a fucking thing, but it like I watched it and I was like, I remember those fucking skits. I remember him just being on stage holding a big ass tray of fucking pickles and like the narrator's talking about him doing these things and he's like, nodding his head or he'd make like a weird face and like shake his head in disagreement or whatever. And I was like, back then I thought that shit was funny because it was like stupid humor. And now I look at it and I'm like, this is atrocious. Especially knowing what this motherfucker did to a child.
Yep.
Like, it's wild, dude. It's crazy.
You want to talk about those letters?
Yeah. So, they also talk about in the documentary, at the beginning of episode 4, where, which we're at an hour already. We had other stuff we were going to talk about, but this always happens.
Hey, man. Conversation gets
You
good.
need to tell me to shut the fuck up sometimes.
Hey, Chris. Shut up.
No, that's not what I said.
You know what? I don't care what you said.
But yeah, the letters. Brian Peck had convinced 41 of his famous friends
and family
to write support letters to the judge to try and help his case.
Apparently it did.
Apparently. Unfortunately. Some of the names include...
So we have Ron Melendez. I don't know
who that is.
Yeah. Alan Thicke.
We all know who Alan Thicke is. If you don't know who Alan Thicke, look him up. You'll recognize him.
James Marsden.
That
Ryder
one was wild.
Strong.
Ryder Strong and Will Friedle.
Yep.
Those two physically hurt me to see because I grew up watching Boy Meets World. I distinctly remember during summer vacation when like my mom had to go to work. I was like 10, 11 or something. She would take me to my grandmother's house and like first thing in the morning on Disney Channel, Boy Meets World would be on. And I loved watching that show. I grew up watching that show.
Phoenix.
Yeah. And so when I found out that Ryder Strong, who I don't even remember his fucking name in the show, but I know it's Corey's best friend, Sean? I think it's Sean. I think that's his name. I'll have to go.
That was the one with the short hair, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of had like the whole like part down the middle, kind of longer-ish, shaggier hair. If you saw him, you'd recognize him. If you ever watched Boy Meets World, I don't know. No, he was more like the wrong side of the tracks. Anyways, doesn't matter. Getting off topic. Him and Will Friedle were such a huge part of my childhood, and when I heard that they supported this motherfucker, I was devastated.
And Tran Killiam.
Wait, which ones?
Yeah,
which ones had the podcast?
Taryn,
Strong and
Ryder Strong and Will Friedle.
And that's when they were like.
That's when they said, yeah. So.
That he told us something completely different.
Yeah, before the show ever even came out, Will Friedle and Ryder Strong, apparently they have their own podcast. I'm going to look that up.
And they were in the courtroom.
I don't know if they didn't say who was in the courtroom.
Well,
they just wrote a letter.
Yeah, that's what I need to know because, like, if you were in the courtroom.
Yeah. But also, my thing with that, I don't know, because that was when it went to trial and Drake did his testifying, they may not have shown that evidence yet for those people that were in there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if they even
true
heard the evidence.
That's true.
So kind of got to play devil's advocate a little bit there.
They did send letters.
Yeah. So, but Will Friedle and Ryder Strong on their podcast said that I'm not gonna read word for word what they said, but
I was just gonna read this.
They said that, and again, this podcast was before the show ever even aired, that they admitted to writing these letters in support of him. However, they were fed completely different misinformation. Exactly, lies from Brian as to what happened with the situation.
Mm-hmm.
They were told that it was astronomically different than what actually happened, and they even went back on their word and was like, I wish I never would have written the letter, because they said that they both are ashamed that they wrote letters supporting that man.
Yep.
And that kind of made me feel better, because I was about to be devastated if I found out that those two were actually piece of shit human beings.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that Brian, when he was telling them, he said, I did this thing, I am guilty, I'm going to take whatever punishment the government determines, but I'm the victim of jailbait.
And that phrase right there fucking kills me. The victim of jailbait.
Like, sir, are you an adult?
So when I think of that, the only time that is even a viable argument is if someone who looks of age lies about their age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, gives you a fake ID or
right,
something. Yeah. Even then, probably doesn't. It still
better
doesn't
take a
make
picture
it
of
okay.
that fake ID. What?
Yeah, exactly. But this man knew his age. He had worked with him.
You can tell
for years.
You can tell. What do you mean?
So even if there was any kind of coaxing on Drake's part of, like, you know, trying to flirt, trying to lead him on, trying to get him to do these sexual acts, you are at the end of the day,
an
you
adult.
are a 40-year-old fucking man.
Do you not have control?
Who knows that is a 15-year-old child.
Exactly. There's no excuse.
None.
Never.
You better fucking kill me before I do that shit.
Never.
I will take a fucking bullet before I do that to a fucking child, whether they want me to do it or not. I will take a fucking bullet before I do that. Anyways, sorry.
Also, too, I totally forgot about the letters. You didn't get to this part yet. The fact that some of these letters, they literally were reading part of them out on the documentary, and they said that man was tempted to do it.
And I mean, that kind of goes into what we were saying, that the whole thing with the letters, they were saying that Drake was tempting him to do it. It doesn't fucking matter. He still did it.
Exactly.
Like, if he was tempted or not, he knows that is a 14-year-old child.
Dude, no way. I don't believe that. That's some garbage.
It's garbage. It's all garbage.
It's a bunch of garbage.
There was, which, you know, along with the Will Friedle and Ryder Strong, there was another one, Joanna Kearns. I don't recognize her, but they showed her letter of support, but then they had like one of those little excerpts that said that she retracted her stance on it and was saying that she had no idea what actually, like, because Brian Peck had fed her lies.
Of course.
And so she actually retracted her support as well.
Send him back to prison.
16 months is crazy.
No, send him back to prison. Doing all of that?
To ruin a child's life.
Doing all of that.
That is all they got. And a lot of those support letters were only calling for probation.
You need life.
Absolutely. Put them under the fucking prison.
Think about it. What if it happened to you? No way, bro. No. No way.
Well, to bring this up, you're the one who has a kid. Imagine that. He'd be dead.
Yeah.
No, if I was Drake's father, I wouldn't went up there.
That's what I'm saying.
I would
have found him.
I've said it several times. I'd be going scorched fucking earth. I'm burning it all down. Dan, Brian, Nickelodeon as a whole, I'm burning it all.
I'm going to the trial. I'm beating
potato chips and a toaster.
Beating him to an inch of his life. Then when I finally get out of prison, I'm suing Nickelodeon. No, you gotta be kidding me. You just ruined my child's life?
And that's my thing with it, too. I really feel like Nickelodeon needs to be held a little more responsible for some of this. Because it's like I was telling you on the way here. Yeah, they're a big corporation. And, you know, some things may fall through the cracks, whatever.
Yeah, but you're telling me...
That is a huge thing to fall through the fucking crack.
You don't have any like, people there to monitor, to watch.
Exactly.
These people are just doing whatever they want,
and
whenever they
find
want.
Out, you were watching episode 4.
It's not 1. It's not 2. There were 3.
They hired... I don't know if it was Nickelodeon. It's somebody who worked for Nickelodeon ended up hiring another who was already arrested, had a prior record of, they were a registered sex offender, and hired him, and of course he ended up molesting some other kid. And this I don't know who that was.
The 4th episode?
Yeah, this is in the 4th episode. It's right after where you're at. It's right after where you're at with like the whole court thing.
Wow.
But yeah, they ended up hiring another one, and he was a registered sex offender, like he had been caught before, and they still fucking hired him. And then they were like, "Oh, well, I guess we'll tighten up on our background checks or something."
Nah,
that should have already been done, dog.
That's like
that should have never gotten to that fucking point.
That's like giving a drug addict drugs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Putting drugs around a drug addict.
You're like, don't taste it.
Yeah.
And all Nickelodeon has to say
ridiculous.
Is, we didn't know about it.
That's
bullshit.
Ridiculous.
So after that, in the 4th episode, they kind of changed the subject back to Schneider and like a lot of his other hijinks. One of the biggest things was what?
iCarly.
One of the biggest things was like the newer Nickelodeon shows.
Mm-hmm.
Shows that I was kind of out of that Nickelodeon phase. I didn't really watch.
That's what I watched.
This was about when I was getting more into the Cartoon Network and like the Toonami, you know.
Yes, I was already there.
It was like Zoe 101 and iCarly, Victorious, you know, whatever.
Cat and Sam.
I never watched a lot of those.
Oh, I did.
But I was watching because they were showing a lot of the shit that happened in those shows.
Like Ariana Grande?
And I thought stuff that happened back in our day was bad. Brother. No. Just in that Victorious show alone, which, again, I never watched that show, but they showed a couple of, like, snippets of these, like, adult jokes. Kind of like the glory hole, the Pickle Boy glory hole
Now
thing.
I gotta go back and watch, like, what?
Yeah. But they showed, like, these clips of, like, Victorious, and, you know, there's a fucking... one of the ones that really stuck out to me was this dude had a bottle of lotion. And he was, like, squirting the pump. He was squirting a 15-year-old girl with lotion, like, all over her face, making it look like she had jizz all over her face.
Wow.
15-year-old girl.
Ariana Grande, the potato.
Ariana Grande, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
They really hit on... apparently Dan, and this was where Dan kind of gets close to that
line.
Line.
He was already close to the line. What do you mean?
It gets work because like he had
feet.
He had a web series on YouTube, and they said that this was stuff that the network wasn't comfortable with putting on TV.
He had a foot fetish.
He did.
I guess because he really liked feet. He showed feet a lot, but that like this web series was dedicated. It was for Victorious, and it was Ariana Grande, and she's just doing like this dumb shit.
Well, if anybody watched
just like
the show,
it looks like super sexual.
Yeah,
and mind you, at that time, she's like 14, 15 years old.
In the show, Kat is
it gets
her
worse
name,
than the potato.
The character.
It does?
Yeah.
She's supposed to be like portrayed this pretty bimbo that doesn't know anything, so she's like, I don't know how to get juice from a potato. Like.
Yeah, and that's when she's like holding it like a dick, and
she's like, I need the juice out.
But there's a thing where she like the thing that really disturbed me. The water bottle. Mm-hmm. She's like
that one I didn't see that one.
She like lays upside down, like her head's like hanging off of the bed.
Like, I'm so thirsty.
And she's like, I'm so thirsty, and she opens a bottle of water and she's like pouring it all over, like she's trying to get a drink, but she's like pouring it all over her tits and like it's weird. It's so weird. And it's disturbing to watch. And that's when I was like, yeah, this motherfucker got to go. Yeah. Like everything before this point was already bad. We're getting into that Brian Peck territory now. We're getting to that Brian Peck line. This motherfucker got to go.
It can't just be Nickelodeon. It has to be someone else too.
We
already know Hollywood's bad. The elites.
And the fact that Dan went to people and he was like, hey, my higher up said it was okay. I didn't break any code.
And that's the thing, too. So I'm going to try to kind of like speed this along, but you got to finish the 4th episode.
Of course.
Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon, they put out a statement in like 2018 that they mutually are parting ways. I think that's a fancy way of saying they're finally giving that motherfucker the boot because of everything that's going on.
Don't say face. Say this man was fired.
Yeah. So.
Well, it was due to the Me Too movement. And there was too many people coming out.
Yeah.
Like, this hostile work environment is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I did kind of glance over that. 2017, Me Too movement happens. A lot of people come forth about Dan Schneider. 2018, they give him the boot. Well, not even 2 days after this documentary releases, Dan Schneider has an apology video out. I've only seen like the first little bit because you said you saw the actual YouTube video. You didn't watch it, but you saw the actual YouTube video was what, like 19 minutes long or something like that?
I believe that's what. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it's longer.
It's somewhere.
It's longer than what I watched. I just watched a little TikTok that she had sent me because it's not banned yet.
Oh wow.
So but I was watching it, and to start off, you can already tell this whole fucking thing, this whole apology is bullshit. It's just all bullshit because the interviewer, air quotes, journalist that is asking Dan these questions, asking him about it's someone who worked for him.
Oh.
He worked on iCarly. He was literally a cast member on iCarly. And he's like asking him all these questions, and he's like, they're very like, you can tell this is something. This isn't like an actual journalist asking, off the wall questions. This was rehearsed. Like, you can just tell.
Really? I'm gonna have to go watch it.
And he's asking these questions, and Dan's just giving like these blanket apologies. Just, oh, I'm so sorry for my behavior. I'm sorry if it came off that way. I never meant it to come off that way. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah.
Apology's not gonna do it for me.
Exactly.
I need some retribution.
The shit that really pissed me off was because they got to talking about like a lot of the sexual jokes and the costume designs for a lot of these young girls, how over-sexualized they were and whatever. Mm-hmm. And Dan's excuse was, my bosses said it was okay. The networks on the East and the West Coast said it was okay.
More like he lied to them.
And none of the parents said that they had a problem with it. So I thought it was okay. Even though you can clearly see how uncomfortable these fucking children are with doing these things.
And they don't want to say anything because they don't want to be fired.
Because they're fucking terrified.
Exactly.
And he even said, he's like, oh, I don't have all this power that they're talking about. I still have to answer to my higher ups. Another lie. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you do have to answer these higher ups, but Nickelodeon's not going to tell you fucking no because you're literally printing them money.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, you do have that fucking power.
Look how successful Drake and Josh was.
Just because you have a boss does not mean you do not have power.
No, you got power.
Exactly.
He had power. He was abusing that power the entire time.
And it was just... I need to watch the rest of it, but I could tell in like the interviewer, air quotes, he's just a yes man of Dan Schneider. He's just going off... He's just riffing off of what Dan said and was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you got a point there. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. He's feeding into Dan's bullshit. because that's all that apology video is. And I looked at the comments, like on the TikTok, just scrolled a little bit, and every single person in that comment section said, "We want an unbiased journalist, not Pickle Boy." We don't want Pickle Boy ever again.
No, we don't want
Send
Pickle
that
Boy.
motherfucker to the gulag.
He
We don't
needs
want
to
him.
go back to prison.
Yeah. But everybody in that comment section, we want an unbiased journalist. Because everybody knows that whole interview was bullshit.
A farce.
Exactly. A huge farce. Thing that also makes me fucking mad, because we looked it up right before we started recording, Brian Peck is working in Hollywood again.
He's a voice actor.
He's a voice actor, apparently.
Nah.
No, that man needs to be fired.
He can still get fucking work.
He needs
You've
to be
got
fired.
people, and I'm going to go on a little fucking tangent here.
You definitely don't need to.
You've got people who go to jail for weed, right? Something is, not saying, you know, if it's illegal, it's illegal. You get caught, you got to do the time, whatever. My thing is, you have people that go to prison for weed who they come back into the workforce, they can't find a fucking job to save their lives.
Yeah.
But you've got this motherfucker who will ruin children's lives. And he's right back
honestly,
to
I feel
making
like,
fucking millions, I'm sure.
Honestly, in my opinion, I feel like it had to have been somebody he knew. He had to know
I mean,
someone.
it had to have been. But that's the fucking world. That's the way the fucking world works.
Yep.
It's all fucked.
You want to talk about Josh Peck?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, just a little.
He's getting a lot of shit on the internet. I mean, a lot of people were pissed.
Well, I mean, is he still getting it? Because, I mean, Drake did go.
He only put that TikTok out today.
Oh yeah.
So he was.
The past 3 days, he's been getting hounded on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, any social media, news outlet, everything.
Yeah, they've been roasting Josh because he apparently hadn't come, you know, to Drake's aid, but.
Well, he posted
not publicly, anyways. He
we don't know what they
exactly.
said in
behind closed doors. I'm sure Josh was, you know, he was probably respecting his wishes
because not everything has to be put on the internet.
Well, the thing is, he messed up.
Say it again.
He put something on the internet and then quickly deleted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, people really need to stop doing that.
But what he did put on the internet was a little, because he was like defending Dan. And, you know,
he
saying
thought everybody was lying about everything.
He said everybody on the documentary was lying, but he quickly deleted it.
Really? But you have multiple people saying the exact same thing? Do you think they're going to just come together?
It's kind of weird,
in a group?
It's kind of weird how
and just like,
so many corroborating lies can happen. Whatever.
Let's all get together. Let's all lie about this one guy. What?
Yeah.
Why? Why would we need to do that?
So maybe a little bit of that heat on the internet is deserved, a little bit of it. But everything dealing with Drake, like him not being there for Drake, I think that's a little uncalled for. Because, like you said, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we get it.
Doors.
You guys have you have your differences, but like when you see something like this, you're just like, okay, I know we've had our problems, but let me go give my condolences. Like,
Make sure you're okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I see this happen to you. I didn't know this was happening to you. Let me be there for you.
Exactly. And that doesn't have to. That's the problem in this digital world we live in. It doesn't have to happen over social media.
Exactly.
Like, it can be, and Drake even said in that TikTok, like, he has reached out to me, he has comforted me, he's given, you know, we've talked about it,
and he's
been
leave him alone.
wonderful about it. And yeah, he basically was like, cut him some slack, like, you know, back off a little bit. But I am curious with this coming out, how that's going to do for Drake, because I know he's kind of gotten a lot of flack himself, because he has also been charged with grooming, right? Like grooming a minor.
Yeah.
Well, 2 DUIs.
2 DUIs, which I mean that's fucking Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's low for Hollywood, if anything.
I mean, look at Shia LaBeouf.
He was just saying that
Shia
because of this, that he's done some awful things because he was trying to cope and didn't do anything.
No excuse.
Yeah.
There's not an excuse for the things he did, and he did own up to it. He's owned up to it. He's getting help. He went to a treatment center. Yep. Apparently that did wonders for him. Good for him. He's getting help. But, you know, I don't want to perpetuate the cycle of, oh, this happened to me, so I'm going to do it to somebody else.
Yeah, no.
Granted,
no.
He didn't go as far as what happened to him, but what he still did was wrong.
Absolutely.
Absolutely 100% wrong. But it's kind of that weird, like, you feel bad for the guy because of the shit he went through. But you also kind of got to give him his chops.
Yeah, no, we feel bad for you for what happened, but
yeah,
you were gonna do it to someone else.
Yeah. So it's kind of that weird. I'm curious to see how this documentary is how it's gonna work for his image to see if
I want to see like what's gonna happen.
If some people may turn around and be like, okay, I get it. It was wrong of you to do, but I get it. Or if people are still going to be like, because we know a couple people, not going to name any names, who are still like, fuck that guy. He still groomed a little girl.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Girl. Like, so, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like, because I don't like that he did it.
Yeah, we're still not
but I get it.
We're still not getting Drake and Josh. You can count that out.
You know what I mean? Getting them on the podcast?
No, like a new season.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, that'll never happen.
I just
unfortunately,
see what Nickelodeon does, because now there's stars.
Nickelodeon ain't gonna do shit.
No, like the people, like I said, with
they're just
Spencer,
big corporation,
or Freddie from iCarly, they have now dropped out and quit Nickelodeon because of this documentary.
They said, "Fuck you, Nickelodeon, we out."
They should.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, you don't want to be a part of that.
Oh, shit. I hit the wrong one.
Now, we haven't heard from...
The applause, not the boo, you suck. We stand them. We stand Spencer and Freddie.
That's not their names.
It is in my book. I don't know their real names.
Big bro, Spencer.
But yeah, definitely got to finish the 4th episode.
Yeah, I plan to.
It kind of wraps everything up really good. But
Bluey.
Oh, yeah. So the comparison for the Bluey shirt, right? So my thing with it is... because and a lot of people do say this with like Ren and Stimpy, right? How and like Rocko's Modern Life, stuff like that, like children's cartoons, but they had that like little touch of like adult humor.
Oh yeah,
like
those
that's
innuendos?
meant for like parents. And so it's like, oh well, your kid's watching a cartoon, but you'll get a chuckle out of it too.
Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken is a good one. Yeah, that show was looking back at that show feels like a fever dream. It's like that shit actually happened. That show was fucking wild.
Yeah, it was.
But the reason I want to make the comparison to the Bluey is because, and this might sound weird, I don't care, fuck you. But even me without children, I will sometimes catch myself watching Bluey. I'm not even gonna lie.
No, I watch it with my daughter.
It is, and every parent that I have talked to who has a child, they straight up tell me like, we will watch that shit together.
Yeah, like, because it's for the kids, but
it's got that little bit of but it's not like there
are lessons learned.
Where I was going with like the comparison, because I feel like Dan Schneider. Not to justify like the fucked up weird sexual jokes that he was making in the shows, not to justify them in any way, but maybe that's what he was thinking, was he was trying to put like this like sneaky little adult humor to maybe try to hook some adults into watching it as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I think of Bluey and I'm like, they don't have to do any of that shit to get adults to watch it. They don't have to have the raunchy, skeezy, like children, adult jokes and children's show to get adults to watch it.
Right, yeah.
And that's why I think Bluey is a fantastic fucking show. Whoever came up with that, fucking kudos. The animation is fantastic. And, like, it's just, it's interesting to see that comparison of people trying to get adults and kids to watch back in the day to now.
Exactly.
Like it's such a crazy comparison to think about.
I play Keepy Uppy with my daughter, and I'm not ashamed of it.
As you shouldn't be. That is a fantastic dad right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we applaud that.
A little late, but I'll take it.
Shut the fuck up. At least you got it. But yeah, that's all. That's the comparison that I was gonna make with that. Yeah, I don't have anything else on the documentary. We're at like almost an hour and a half. This is gonna be fun to edit tomorrow. Anything else you want to talk about?
That's it.
I mean, we can talk about the other stuff we wanted to talk. Oh, real quick, Friday Night SmackDown. We went to Friday Night SmackDown in Memphis. We had a blast. The Rock showed up. That place went fucking bonkers.
I got a Rock outside.
It's probably as bald as that Rock.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he's bald.
You want to go meet that one?
Nah.
It won't be the same?
No.
That's sexist.
He won't, ask me if I smell what he's cooking, so.
You don't know that.
You got a talking rock outside?
That's rockist.
And we're going to call that an episode. Yeah, Friday Night SmackDown was awesome. The Rock was awesome. Cody came out. I got to sing along with the theme song. I got a new shirt. It was fun. It was a good time. Fun times were had by all.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You should have ran out there naked.
I should have. Well, if I wasn't up on a fucking balcony, I might have.
You should have fell down there naked.
Just swan dive straight out there.
It looks like a fan is. Oh my God, he's naked.
Oh my God, he's naked. They'd have seen my big ass bruise on my ass cheek.
Yeah, you would have had a bigger one too.
Yeah, all over. All right, ladies and germs, we're gonna call that an episode though, for real this time. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, there it is.
You love it.